In this video, we're going to quickly cover a few of the main pros and cons of the different types of NBN that we previously discussed. Let's start with the most common NBN type, fibre to the node. Please note the pros and cons for fibre to the node are the same for hybrid fibre coaxial. Pro 1. This has a faster rollout date. 2. Not all buildings can support fibre to the premise, so this is the next best option available for them. 3. Performance is still increased, but it's from the node onwards. Now, here's the cons. 1. Every connection will have a different speed. 2. Fibre to the node performance levels will vastly differ depending on your location. The further you are from the node, the slower your speed will be. Statistical research has shown at a 100-metre distance, fibre to the node could deliver approximately 100 megabits per second. At 500 metres, that speed decreases to approximately 50 megabits per second. And at 1 kilometre distance to the node, you could be looking at 25 megabits per second top speed. That means if you're 1 kilometre from the node and you're paying for a big plan of 75 or even 100 megabits per second, well, you're not going to get good value for your dollar. Con 3. As demand for bandwidth and data sizes increases and grows, with the evolution of technology and how the population uses it, fibre to the node has insufficient upload speeds to handle this kind of demand. 4. Copper is harder to troubleshoot, repair and maintain. And 5. The existing copper infrastructure is aged, out of date, damaged and inadequate for high speeds. And 6. Fibre to the node can be interrupted by radio interference and environmental factors. And con number 7 is that some MediAlerts, fax machines, security and FPOS systems may not be compatible. Moving on to wireless NBN fibre or NBN fibre over Wi-Fi. This type of connection is fairly simple, with not too many pros and cons. Please be aware this type of NBN connection is not to be confused with satellite NBN. The pros and cons are: 1. It's not subject to any of the fibre to the node and HFC cons and disadvantages. Woo! 2. It is easier to upgrade and perform maintenance, ensuring the end user experience is top notch. And 3. The signal is easier and often cheaper to move around. Example, you're on a large property and you move your home to a different spot on your land, not a big deal to move the signal. And 4. Fault finding is super simple and super easy. The fault can be mainly found either at the house or the tower. Simple. However, the cons are there are wireless constraints. Line of sight is sometimes needed as ridges, trees, metal roof buildings and hills, etc. can all degrade your signal strength, not to mention wet weather and hydrated tree foliage. 2. There are security issues that cabling would unlikely suffer from. It is a lot harder to break through a physical barrier with fibre underground. However, with Wi-Fi, that barrier doesn't exist. Make sure you go with a service provider that knows this issue and has taken the necessary precautions, and they haven't skipped and skimmed for profits. Plus, don't forget to ensure your security at your end is covered too. 3. This type of NBN connection can struggle with torrential rain, but it would have to be an amazing amount of rain though. Now, satellite NBN is pretty short. Pro 1 is that it can reach more areas that previously had nothing, or were limited to 3G or 4G. And Pro 2 is that the data can be cheaper than the major telcos' 3G or 4G plans. Con number 1 is that satellite NBN has huge latency issues. The ping or data has to travel approximately 36,000 kilometres up and then 36,000 kilometres back down. That's 72,000 kilometres just to send a signal one way. Con 2 is that this type of connection can be majorly affected by the weather. Cloud cover, light rain, heavy rain, fog, all of these can have an impact. And number 3 is data limits. As of today, I still couldn't find a provider that is offering unlimited data for NBN. Now let's move on to the deluxe version of NBN, fibre to the premise, aka fibre to the home. Now there's 6 pros. Performance is pretty much unaffected by distance. You see, the data travels via light waves and can travel faster, further and can carry more information than its counterpart copper, which is used in fibre to the node. as this data travels slower and is more reduced via electricity through the copper lines. 2. It lacks latency issues. 3. You get the reliability of a new and better maintained infrastructure. 4. Issues from environmental factors are limited and reduced. And 5. Can't be interrupted by radio interference. And 6. Simpler and easier to upgrade and complete maintenance. Now here's the 4 cons. 1. Not all buildings are adequate, able and apt to support this type of connection. 2. Landlords and body corporates have the power to delay the installation, the build, the repairs and the maintenance. 3. It has a slower rollout date due to its high cost and time required replacing the existing infrastructure. And 4. Some media alerts, security systems and FPOS machines may not be compatible. And there you have it, folks. I hope that helped and you found that really informative. If you have a question, just pop over to our Facebook page and send us a message.